agitation inside the Labor Party that the 43% of 1% of the world's climate problems needs to be moved up to at least 75%, dealing with 75% of 1% of the world's climate problems by 2035, or maybe going all the way to the Greens of dealing with 100% of 1% of the world's climate problems. That's the reality, but of course, to say that somehow means I'll end up on some watch list somewhere. But Joe, that is the agitation inside the Labor Party. Reality is you've got a big backbench, you can afford to burn it. Reality is if you want to pass anything through the Parliament, there really is only one way with this, and that's the Greens, who are sitting at 100. The Teals are saying 75, currently 43, but there are plenty of people inside Labor who say, no, not 43, not 53, 75.
Yeah, actually, I don't think that many. But the agitators in the Labor Party, as the Labor Environment Action Network, they're pretty small. They're loud, but they're and vocal, but they're pretty small. And everyone, they're like the Greens within, they're like the Clayton's Greens. Look, we're Labor, we're for the environment. Don't vote for the hippies.
The cosplay Greens.
We've got our own people here. Oh, they really believe it. They don't think they're cosplaying.
Oh, no. They're throwing things to the telly now, Joe.
They're throwing, and they can pick up the phone to the Guardian and saying, calls from within the party. In fact,
as we say about taking it easy on a
the best thing the party ever did was put the climate change portfolio into the hands of a senior right faction minister, and Chris Bowen, and everyone says he's a socialist, so imagine if it went to the other side. And I think Labor knows that it's gone about as far as it can go on this. I mean, already you've got the PM being booed in rural communities, and good on him for having the guts to go and speak to them.
Agree.
But, again, what is the point of setting a target when pretty much every projection shows that we're not going to meet the targets that we've already got? The question we need is how do we get the wind farms approved? How do we get offshore funding for offshore wind farms? How do we make sure that the land wind farms that we have don't completely wreck rural communities or divide them?
How do we compensate?
These are big enough, and some would say insurmountable enough. I don't think they are, but these are big enough challenges without then arguing about some abstract number that we're probably going to struggle to even get close to.
Well, which brings us, Ross, okay, at 43%, trying to deal with 43% of reduction of emissions for 1% of the world's problem, we all know what's happening right now. Well, if you want to move that to 55, 65, 75%, the BCA put a price on it. It's hundreds of billions of dollars. But we start to move basically anything above here outside of the energy grid. We're moving into transport. We're moving into agriculture. The consequences will be as visible, but in way more parts of our lives, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And my money's on 70. I actually had a staff member up in a briefing in Parliament House a couple of weeks ago, and a member of the PMO was sitting there saying, it's going to be 70, we're pulling the levers. They're not worrying about the people, they're talking about people as levers.
Somebody wants to open a market on that.
The world is in trouble, why the agricultural world. Yeah, well, pay even money's no better. But that's where it's going. And they're just seeing this as exactly as Joe says. You put a big enough target out there, 70%, whatever, 75%, and suddenly, we have to do this because we have to reach this target. You have to pay more for energy. You can't drive your diesel car. You've got to drive an electric car. The things they were talking about with their little representatives were getting rid of the diesel excise rebate for farm machinery, for truckers, for miners, these things. The quote that got me from that conversation was, everything's on the table because we're desperate. This is where they're at. They just want a big enough target to go out there and hurt everyone the same. And if your power bills aren't big enough now, they can fix that for you as part of this.